3, 2, 1. Attackers in.
This ends now.
Reaper tryhards and casuals, welcome back. A blind noob here with more Reaper tips for Overwatch 2. And as usual, in this video, I'll be going into great detail so you'll finish watching feeling a strong urge to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Alright, so this time, I'll be focusing on Reaper's most controversial or complained about ability, Shadow Step, and how it can be used aside from just the usual repositioning for a flank. Every time I read someone saying that this ability is trash, outdated, or needs a rework, I honestly die a little on the inside. But yeah, all that is just another tell me you don't Reaper without telling me you don't Reaper. When used optimally, Shadow Step is an integral part of Reaper's kit, and without it, not only would his flanking suffer, but so would his escapability and survivability. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, or disagree with me, keep watching, and I guarantee I'll change your mind by the end of this video. So to kick things off, first let's go over a few numbers tied to Shadow Step. It has a maximum range of 35 meters, but this can be increased to about 43 meters with his perk, Death's Shadow. While casting, you are vulnerable to damage and abilities for the first 0.7 seconds, after which you become invulnerable to everything. Everything except for Sombra's hack, of course. Stupid bitch. Some people will call this ability clunky, but I think 0.7 seconds is not such a big deal unless you're trying to TP while a soldier already has your head in his crosshairs. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to enable Ability to Release under Shadow Step Confirmation input in Reaper's custom settings. This will allow you to complete Shadow Step in a single click as opposed to the cumbersome double click. If you don't know how to change this setting, make sure to check out my previous video explaining it in detail. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. This 0.7 seconds though is a very important number to remember, or at least get a feeling for, because Shadow Step can be a great ability for dodging damage, especially from charged abilities. The most common and probably easiest ability to dodge being the Diva Bomb. Very simply, when Diva ults, just wait for her to finish saying,
Nerf this!
Then activate your Shadow Step. It doesn't even need to be right away, and you'll still be invulnerable by the time it explodes. Usually Wraith is a lot easier for dodging abilities, but in this case, Diva's voice line makes timing it so easy that even if Wraith isn't on cooldown, I'd suggest dodging with Shadow Step, as I'm sure you would agree, it's the least valuable cooldown of the two. So what about other abilities though? The ones that don't take 20 seconds to charge or have big old voice lines making timing easy as pie to dodge. Well, one that is a little trickier is Sigma's ult, Gravitic Flux. His lift only takes 1 second from the moment he selects his target, meaning you have 0.3 seconds to use Shadow Step when you see the ground turn red. Because once his ult locks onto you and you start levitating, there's no way out. So dodging this one with TP is obviously doable, but you'll need to master these 3 skills in order to do it. First, and this one is not so much a skill as I guess an innate ability, reaction time. But heck, if you're playing Overwatch, you probably already got half decent reaction time. Next is ult tracking. You need to be aware, going into a fight, who on the other team has or probably has their ult. This is such an important skill in Overwatch. When you know Reinhardt has Shatter, for example, you're obviously going to play closer to cover, and when you hear that first in Hammer down, you're already prepared to dodge it. Bonus points if you're on comms and can call it out to your teammates. A simple call out of Rein has ult can save multiple teammates' lives and win you the fight. So how do you track ultimates? A very basic way is by assuming that if they didn't ult last fight, they have it for this fight. You can also use damage and healing as a rough gauge. Generally speaking, and this differs from hero to hero, if they have between 1500 to 2000 combined damage and healing, they probably have their ult. This too is very rough though, as it depends on how much of the damage and healing has been put into the tank, as this will charge your ult slower. Also, the longer it takes, the less you need, as you passively gain ult charge throughout the game. Finally, making a mental note of hero stats when they do use their first ultimate can help. Reinhardt had 2000 damage when he first ulted and now has 3500 damage. Well, better start hugging corners or keeping a finger on your Wraith button. And finally, the third skill is tracking your own cooldowns. So you've been tracking Sigma's ult and you're pretty sure he's got it, and you think that he may target you with it. Well, you'd better make sure you've got at least Wraith or Shadow Step off cooldown. And if one is on cooldown, you need to keep that in the back of your mind, as 0.3 seconds doesn't give you enough time to check the status of your own abilities. Remember, all it takes is one elimination for either team to gain a huge advantage in a fight, especially in 5v5. And if you can avoid being that one elimination, especially when targeted by an ultimate, that'll be a huge boost to your team's chances of winning. So to recap, the 3 necessary skills you want to master in order to get better at dodging abilities are reaction time, tracking enemy cooldowns, and tracking your own cooldowns. Of course, improving these will help your overall game as well, not just for dodging abilities. Also, just an added tidbit related to Sigma's ult, if you're using Wraith to dodge it, timing here is critical. If you Wraith too early, you'll dodge the initial 50 damage from the liftoff, but you'll exit Wraith before the slam and end up taking that 50% max HP damage. Wraith lasts for 3 seconds, and the suspension for Gravitic Flux lasts 2.3 seconds, so you want to time your Wraith as close as possible to the liftoff time to avoid the full 200 damage. Anyways, Shadow Step can be used to not only dodge abilities, but also escape from them. For example, a Cassidy ult takes 2 full seconds to charge to 300 damage. If you're in his sights with full HP, you have plenty of time to teleport to a safe area. Orisa and Mei ults are very similar in that they are an area of effect ability that take time to charge their damage or effect. It takes 2 seconds to freeze in Mei's Blizzard, and more than 2 seconds for Orisa's Terra Surge to charge 300 damage, meaning both can easily be escaped with the use of Shadow Step. And finally, just like Wraith, Shadow Step cleanses you of most negative effects. And again, Wraith is the more valuable cooldown, so if you've got both abilities available, it's almost always better to sacrifice Shadow Step to cleanse yourself of the following: Mauga and Ash Burn, Ilari's Captive Sun, Anna's Biotic Grenade, Junker Queen's Rampage, and Zenyatta's Discord Orb. Of course, whether it's actually worth it to burn this cooldown depends on the situation, but it's good to keep this in the back of your mind whenever you've been afflicted by those pesky effects. So there you have it. Still think Shadow Step is a useless, outdated ability that needs to be reworked? I think it's clear that not only is this ability fundamental and a necessary part of Reaper's kit, but it also makes him extremely slippery and provides him with extra survivability. So I hope this video was helpful for you in your hunt for new ranks with Reaper. Thanks for watching, and until my next video, may your death blossoms be bloody.